that ideological frameworks that stems from culture, tradition, religion, patriarchy. And now with that, that stems into a power format. Now that's where power is held, because these ideologies have moved into a system and it got institutionalized, and that is how this also came about. Because, political ideologies is also supposed to be that side. So through that power, there are now systems that are limiting or advancing a discourse, whether it is pro or con. So with that, we realize the amount of inequalities that we are experiencing as people, and also how structural issues are impeding, starting from the premise of law. So in order for us to understand this whole framework that impedes on us, and when we've identified the lack of an enabling environment, we've realized that you'll see there are two key words here. There's the word of acceptance versus the words of tolerance. And we had a reflection to actually say sometimes, as much as we argue that we do not seek for any form of acceptance, there is sometimes a line where you want a close person in your family to accept you for who you are. But of course, if you go to an extended part of discussion outside your house, you don't care what people think. They must just be tolerant. And that is something that we say is a discussion that stimulates who we really are as people and what is it that we are looking at. There's also the alignment that we said, now that we have the ideological framework, we know how they've been institutionalized, and also how that system operates. We've realized that there are institutions, I don't know what they call it here on the trunk, there was a word that actors, yes. They are actors, but we said it's the institution, and the main thing that we reflected upon is the whole structure that we have in this country. The 4 to 5 tiers that we have. There is the faith-based organizations, there's the NGOs, CSOs, and FBOs, the judicial system. There's also the media, who's the 4th estate, but we also say the 5th estate is the society itself that gives an index of what they feel around these groups that have been identified. However, we are also saying, yes, we have identified inequalities here, but we're saying at the same time, in order for us to ensure that we reap the fruits of what we have identified up here, we were saying that the lack of education is also something that plays a critical role, because you have ideologies that have indoctrinated a certain system, and yet at the same time, the evolution of things have created a diverse opinion that also has certain groups not have access to information or education or whatever you want to call it. And then also that speaks to the issue of knowledge, because you're able to weigh if there's a lack of information or access to education, that basically means there's a lack of knowledge and extended skills that comes for people to be able to diversify their engagement. Also the fact that these minority groups that were in the group identified, that we say that there is a lack of voice of these communities out there that is silenced by the institutions that are around. There's also a lack of recognition, and broadly there is this social construction of gender expectations. And we are very clear about gender versus the physiology aspect also that came into that. And then the highest breed of things is the issue about access, the lack of access to services. And we can unpack what access to services mean for us as a group. And then we also acknowledge that this power that we are talking about and the rollout of these institutions have got a very male-centric form of dialogue or presentation, where we as women are seen as not equal, and that again speaks to the inequality. And then the high-level issue around exclusion that we're experiencing. So we went further to actually say, let's try this middle part of the trunk, which is there. We said, we saw that as a form of, that is the line of transformation. What is it that we're talking about when we talk about transformation? And usually when most of us in this room do our activism work, we end up wanting to be included. But it's a process. You need to mainstream your issues, and then you're going to, only then they will integrate you when they understand it, and then they'll take 25 more years to get there, and then they will be inclusive to acknowledge you and give you actual recognition. So we said for us, as we build this whole tree, there is this transformation part that needs to be reflected upon, because the change will take time, because we've identified the lack of information or education to the groups that we are trying to advance in this course.